Spirituality in Malazan Book of the Fallen is plenty, and you can find a lot of spiritual signs, symbols, and so on. As you know, many of you, this channel has, I have a spiritual lens when I read Malazan Book of the Fallen. I think it's one of the great things with reading Malazan. With that said, many people in Malazan Book of the Fallen, they are not, they don't believe in God. They are very critical. They are agnostic, or they doubt, or they don't believe at all, and some people believe. So still, I wanted to make this video about spiritual science in Malazan Book of the Fallen and in the Malazan world. So it's also both Stephen Erickson's books and also Ian C. Esselmont. So I made a list of 13 things that I wanted to present to you. So we'll jump right into it together. First of all, gods. There is a Ganpati, and the gods are many. It's a pantheon, and they have personalities and traits, and they intervene in the mortal world. So obviously a spiritual sign. We have holy books. There's one, Bhagavad Gita. There are many other in the real world, like the Bible and so on. And also in the Malazan world, there are many holy books, or at least books filled with divine power. So we also have tarot cards. It's number three. I have a video on the deck of dragons. All these videos I make are targeted to beginners in the Malazan world. If you don't know about Malazan, maybe you're interested, or you have just started reading it. If you have read it, Malazan Book of the Fallen many times, maybe this is no surprise for you. Tarot cards, yeah, that can predict a lot of things. At least people can read them and try to interpret them. We also have ascendants, and ascendance is connected to the gods, and it is mortals who are on their way up to divinity. So in a way, you could say even the gods are human, but they have become gods. Um, they can be elevated and they can fall down. Much like the Iliad, I would say, by Homer. This is a Swedish version. You have this in the Greek mythology, a lot of it. And um, in a way, I think in all mythologies and religions, you have this kind of ascendant thing. Uh, in the Malazan world, the gods and ascendants, they are not permanent. They don't have this status forever. They can fall down, which is an interesting aspect when you read the books and try to decode the Malazan mystery. Um, we have tea, of course. I'm not sure about the in the books, the characters, I think, just drink tea. Correct me if I'm wrong. But tea is has a lot of spiritual power in many parts of the world. For example, in Japan and China, used in many rituals, and they drink a lot of tea. I'm drinking a Sheng Puer today. Very good, from a nice shop actually in Stockholm. It's called In the Mood for Tea. So check that store up if you haven't done that. It's great. They have a great teas. I bought my teas there since 2009. Um, we have magic, of course. So I have a video on the Warrens and magic system in Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's very, it's a soft magic system. It's very, in a way, complex, I would say, but fun, complex and fun. And it affects a lot of people. You can travel through the Warrens. You can it's a physical place, a location, but it's also a place from where you can draw power, and you can also combine different warrants. Different mages can do that to use in battle, for example. So then we have, of course, temples, and there are many in the Malazan world, and temples, of course, and whatever you call them, churches or whatever, um, is an obvious spiritual sign, of course. Another sign I would say is archaeology, and that might sound a bit strange, as you might know, Ericsson and ENC Esselmont work in the field of archaeology. And when you excavate, could excavate temples or skeletons that you find, or things related to tribal people, which Erickson told me about in one of my conversations that you find here on the channel. There is something spiritual about that, the thing you find, because you, if I would scratch on my wall here, now it's just a wall, but if I scratch a little further, I will find a temple, just like an idea. There is something magic, something, I think, something that touches the soul quite deep about that, and that is very much included in the Malazan books. We have poems, and I'm not going to read for you, but the beginning of Gardens of the Moon, which is the first book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen. We have, I don't know if you can see this like this. Yes, I'll hold up. There is a lot of poems like this in before every chapter starts in all the Malazan books. Sometimes it's poems, sometimes it's historical accounts, so it has nothing to do with poems then. But poetry has a spiritual connotation to me, not at least in the Iliad that I showed you, and also in Bhagavad Gita, for example. It's a kind of verse that they are using. If you're interested into poetry, I would really suggest you to read the Malazan books. And if you follow my channel and are into poetry, maybe you can comment on the poetry of Erickson and E.N.C. Esselmont. What kind of poetry is that, do you think? Or maybe you already know. So I'm interested in that. So please tell me if so. Um, there are mantras in the Malazan world, or repetitive religious words, verses that you find from time to time. Maybe not so specifically that it's repeated, but you can sense that, at least from my lens, because you might have an other lens and then you see other things. If you see other things, please write in the comments below, or at my community page at the Nostalgic Dragon on YouTube. There are many signs and symbols that have spiritual connotations. I don't want to spoil anything, but this could be one sign. And the symbols are very, very important. And even now on my second reread, during my first reread did not quite understand that that was a symbol. Now I know after my first reread, so I interpret the books differently on my second reread because I know more. So there is a know-how that you build up when you read the Malazan books. And I think that has a lot to do with the structure of the Malazan books, especially Ericsson's books, because actually both Ericsson and E.N.C. Esselmont are short story writers, but I will focus on Ericsson now. And there are many short stories. The chapters are built up with many short stories that have a beginning and an end in a way, and they might continue next chapter or maybe 3 or 4 chapters later. That is very similar, I think, to like Mahabharata, the Hindu epic, and also the Iliad, how to build up a story and how to tell the story. So I think that's one reason why people go back and reread it. At least that was an aspect when 4 corners of the page interviewed Steven Erickson just last week ago. Um, and I think that's true. And when you write in that way, I think it's easier for you as a reader to remember things. It's similar to fables, spiritual stories, stories we learn how to morals from, for example. They are written in a way so they are repeated because they come from a time when the spoken word were more important than the written word, or maybe the written word did not exist even. The last sign I have is uh, the theme of impermanence. This will be a special video here on the channel, and nothing is permanent on, I would say, Earth, but especially in the Malazan world. Kingdoms rise and fall, emperors rise and fall, um, different religious groups rise and fall, etc., etc. I mean, it's called the Malazan Book of the Fallen for a reason in a way. So nothing is permanent, and the time span in in the Malazan books are huge. We talk about 300,000, 400,000, even more years, maybe, if we put all the books like the Karkanas trilogy, and Malazan Book of the Fallen, and ENC's books, and we have Walk in Shadow, the Witness trilogy as well. So there's a huge span of time, and that makes me as a reader humble when I read it. Because even if one person believes in his cause very, very strongly, that person or that idea might fall, and then there might come another one who does the same, and he's equally or she is equally convinced about what's the right thing to do. So impermanence is an important theme, from my perspective, and also that we get to know uh, the events in the books from different angles and perspectives. Um, so that was my list of things. So I'm interested to hear from you if you're still here. One was there any theme of these 13 that you want me to delve deeper into? Please write it down in the comments below. Do you have other themes that you would add in terms of spiritual themes in the Malazan world? And yeah, if you have reactions on my interpretation, this is only my interpretation. I have friends who are reading these books and they have totally different lenses, maybe only following the plot. I say only because it's so much to keep track of. The relationships between people, and the violence and the fighting and so on. That is something I focus on more now on my second read of the book. And I have a friend who reads, he knows the plot so well. I'm not sure I know the plot so well yet, but maybe I will do it later. So with that, I wish you a great evening. It's spring here in Sweden, very nice weather, and it's a holiday today. I will try to make some more videos for this weekend. And if you have requests on videos, please write it down below. And we'll meet later. Thank you. Bye.